shit. The Hanzo rework came out, huh? Nice. What is up, everyone? Tis I, Z Gaming Guy. Welcome to apparently Z Talks. It's just sticking with Z Talks. I asked you guys what you wanted, and everyone's like, you know what? Just keep it the same, basically. So if you don't know how this works, we go through a topic each week, and I, at the beginning of the video, go back to the previous topic and read some of your comments, elaborate my thoughts on them, and this week will be a little different, but I'll go into that for, after a little bit. But first, let's go back into some of the other comments. So the old video was the one where I talked about my favorite game from each generation of console. And a lot of you guys gave some pretty good responses, but unfortunately, a lot of them are pretty long. So I'm going to stick with the ones that are a little shorter. And first up, we have a comment from J3Om. And Yam said, so I don't quite remember a lot of games from the old consoles back since I was really young back then, but the ones I do remember are Crash on PlayStation 1 or 2, the Mario RPGs on Nintendo DS, Partners in Time is my favorite, Mario 64, Mario Kart, Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on the PS2, Tekken on the PS2, New Super Mario Bros. On the Wii, Halo 1 on the PC, Minecraft. Guess that's about it. He cheated a bit by using multiple things on the same console, but I'm not going to call you out for that. I kind of called you out on that a little bit. Anyway, moving on. So, all these are pretty solid. Dragon Ball Budokai in particular, though, I don't remember if Tenkaichi was a particular version, but I remember having a lot of fun with the Budokai series in general, from 1 to 3. I liked them all. The Mario RPGs I never played, but I did play Paper Mario, and that was really cool. That was one of my first kind of steps into an RPG-like game. I'll go into that more in a second, but these are a pretty solid list. Next, we have a comment from Terminator00666 saying, hey, Halo Reach was one of my favorite game of all time, and I think the older Halo series was one to remember. I play a lot of League, so of course I am biased on PC, but I think Minecraft is a lot more interesting and relaxing game to play compared to League, which is cool too. Yeah, I tried, I think, League once, and I tried Smite, and I just got my poo pushed in, like, severely. Like, I tasted my poo again, and again, I never ate. But MOBAs, for me, have not been the greatest of experiences. They're pretty toxic. I mean, Overwatch is not much better, and I like playing that game, but MOBAs are interesting, and yeah, Minecraft, super cool game. You're not going to get it until you play it, though, so that's fine. And Halo Reach, I was one of the few people that was just kind of like, about it, because I was so invested in Master Chief's story that I was kind of disappointed to not see more of him. But I did like it. It was fun still, and I liked the kind of, what I guess, horde mode that they kind of put out. I thought that was pretty cool. So Reach was definitely a pretty good one. I was going to mention this too, kind of a little funny side story. I was saying how Paper Mario was one of the first RPGs I played, but I think the first full-on RPG I ever played was Final Fantasy X, and I didn't know what RPGs were at the time. Like, I didn't know leveling up was a thing and all that stuff. So when I played it, I didn't level up my character. I mean, I guess he leveled up, but I never put any stats anywhere or anything like that. So I was severely underpowered, and I got to a point where, if you play this, you might remember this, but there's a point where you play as the guy with the ball, the main character, and I think the lion guy. I don't remember their names at all, I'm sorry. And they're all underwater, and you face this big, robot thing. And I remember, they were the worst characters for me, and since I didn't level anyone up, it was impossible. I could not beat it. And I was like, I don't fucking understand this game. And I got mad and returned it, and then, years later, I remember being like, wait a second, did that have a leveling up system? Once I found out more about RPGs, yes, it did. It would have helped a lot. Now moving on to the next topic, well, topics, because no one put out a particular topic that I feel like was worth delving into very deeply. We'll see, though. I'll start with one that might have quite a bit of talking going on with it, but we'll see. This is from Bulletface, and he says, next Z Talks, talk about the 3 stages of consciousness or the Facebook privacy issue. Well, I don't have enough information on the Facebook issue. I haven't really paid too much attention on that, so I really don't think I should be putting my thoughts on that. But as for the consciousness, the 3 stages of it, well, what I'm assuming you mean is, being conscious, unconscious, and subconscious. The 2 of them are pretty self-explanatory. Conscious, they're conscious actions. Like, when I go to punch someone in the face, I'm doing it consciously. I'm like, I want to punch this person in the face, and then I'm gonna do the action. I'm consciously doing it. Unconscious, well, I don't really see you able to do anything while unconscious. Being unconscious means there's just nothing going on really, essentially. As for subconscious, this is just how I interpret it all, just so you know. I'm not looking up a definition. This is just on the fly, my interpretation of everything. So go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love to see what you think about it. As for subconscious, though, that's what's pretty interesting to me. Subconscious being things you do without thinking about it, like blinking or breathing. Well, I mean, I'd hope so. If you have to think about those things, how the hell are you alive, for one thing? I can barely manage it when I don't need to think about it. But it's interesting how you begin to add more to your subconscious in your day-to-day lives. I mean, a good example is like if you work at a job and you've done it for a long time, you can start to zone out and you're subconsciously keep working without having to actually think about what you're doing. You can't just do that anytime. You know, you eventually build the muscle memory and things like that so that it's able to do it, it's able to operate without you really needing to think about it. Well, I'm going to quickly piggyback off that topic to a different one I feel like is pretty similar. When someone does something even perhaps subconsciously without thinking about it, sometimes they say, oh, it was just instinct. You know, like for example, at my job, again, when we have to make things look nice, we would pull things forward to the front of the shelf, you know, at my store, and you'd face the labels forward, all that jazz. So sometimes when I'm working, I'm not supposed to be doing that. I do it anyway, and because I'm just zoned out. Some people in that situation might say, "Oh, I'm just instinctively doing these things," but I think a lot of people, at least a lot of people I've talked to, don't really understand the difference between instinct and habit. You know, so instinct is something you're born with, like a human instinct, for example, like the fight or flight kind of feeling. You don't habitually get the fight or flight. I guess you can if you're very unfortunate, but it's instinct. You know what I mean? It's something you just naturally gained as a human, or even as an animal. You know, like it's instinct for lions to go after zebras or whatever. Whereas something like a habit, like at my job that I was doing, that's something you acquire over time, and again, muscle memory plays into it a lot. So a lot of your subconscious actions typically are habits. So yes, very interesting stuff. I think this is really delving deep into the mind of the human. It's a very complex and stupid thing. I'll remember all 151 original Pokemon, but ask me to name 50 states, you're hell no. Remember every single lyric to a song that I heard once, and I haven't heard in 10 years. Remember questions I studied and binged on for the past week? Nah. Did I buy a whole case of chocolate milk on an impulse buy? Did your parents wish they had pulled out? Now, since that's about all I had to say on the topic, I'd love to hear what you guys thought about that and what your thoughts are and your ideas of all types of consciousness are. But since that was a fairly short topic, we're going to move on to at least one more, and this is from your boy Smokey, saying, for the next Z-Talk, I really like that episode that you had with your dad playing Fortnite. I'd just like to hear what other games you enjoyed playing with him and just see if he was the reason why you got into playing games. Well, I guess in a sense, every parent is kind of the reason because he's the one who bought me the console. But I did enjoy playing Mario with him. We also, of course, played Mario Kart and Mario Party. And once the Wii U came out, or I'm sorry, was it just the Wii? Probably just the Wii, but the Wii Sports, played that with him. Every now and then, I like to force him on a campaign of a video game. Like The Last of Us, for example. He beat The Last of Us like 5 times. And it's cool, like, because obviously gaming is something myself and I'm sure many of you are passionate about. So when you can have someone else relate to it, as in like you bring them into something you're passionate about and share that experience with them, it's really cool. But as for like whether he got me fully into gaming, I think a big part of it too is the fact that like I'm a very competitive person. When I was younger, and if he was better than me at a video game, I'd want to be better than him. When we played chess, he would just destroy me and he wouldn't even hold back, but I kept trying and eventually started to beat him. Interestingly, so being that this is still kind of again, Z-Talks are going to happen. These are going to happen where I'm talking about something and I think, oh, this is related to that, and I branch off. I said this last time, I'm going to say it again, just heads up. With the whole sharing your experience in something you're passionate about with someone else and having them enjoy it as well, I think that's one of the cool things about YouTube, or YouTube gaming specifically, is a lot of us, I mean, I gotta imagine pretty much every single one of you, when you found someone outside of a game you're just being recommended about. Like, so Mario, for example, if you watch one person doing Mario, and you're going to get recommended more Mario from other people. That's fine. But if you get recommended to someone about a different game, that's probably because you looked up someone playing that game specifically because you wanted to see how they played the game, their reaction. That's how I found a lot of my YouTubers. Like when I first heard about Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Markiplier, that was when they were playing very emotional games. Like let's take The Last of Us or The Walking Dead final season, the Walking Dead first season final episode. I wanted, all of a sudden after playing it, I was like, I have to see how everyone else handled this. Did they break down like me? So I started searching it, and when you find people who share a similar experience to you, and they're as invested and involved as in the game or the people or whatever as you are, then you feel this immediate camaraderie between them. It's kind of like when you wear a shirt with the game or a sport team or whatever, and you're walking down the street and someone says, "Hey, I'm a fan of blah 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 too." You feel this instant connection with this person. You're like, "Hey, you have good taste, buddy. Let's go have a drink." Like, obviously you're probably not gonna go out and say that, but the point is connecting with people on something like a passion is always good, always cool, always fun. That's why when someone's passionate about something, regardless of whether you like it or not, you should never put them down for it. You know, if my dad was into My Little Pony, like super hardcore, and he was a brony and all that, you know, if he was having a good time, that's cool. I just like seeing people be stoked about stuff. But hey, get together with someone who shares the same passion, like Mass Effect, for example. For me, when I met two people who share it, oh my god, we spent hours just talking about our favorite character, who's best girl, what the ending should have been like, who lived in this, and what decisions did you make, you know, and you get so involved in the conversation, and you just enter the world with them, and you don't care about like appearance so much. You just want to have just fun conversation and just share your thoughts and everything. That's something I really want on this channel, is the ability for all of us to just like, some of my favorite things when I read in comments is when people are just so involved with conversation, where everyone's like, "Oh, I loved," like, so a lot of you guys are saying, "Oh, you loved LAN parties and Jak and Daxter, like those were great times, man." Literally forgot what the original question was. Yes. So final answer on whether or not my dad got me into gaming, I'd say yeah. I'm interested in what experiences you guys had with playing with your parents or siblings or something like that. You know, did you play a lot of, I'm guessing, Nintendo? Like, Nintendo seems to be the game everyone played with their family at some point or another. Like, you know, at least back in the day. Now it might be a little different, but I am very curious. On a side note, my dad plays a ton of Fortnite, and sometimes when we're having dinner, he'll complain and bitch about playing squads and people not sticking together, and it's just so funny because it's just something we've all experienced if we play, you know, multiplayer games. You'll be like, why do they play multiplayer with other people if they're just gonna go do their own thing? I don't get it. Do they not even want to win? And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, that's just how it is. Anyway, guys, that does it for me today. So please, with that said, let me know what you think the consciousness levels are and what they mean, or perhaps what did you and your parents play together, or siblings, it doesn't matter. And of course, what would you like to hear in the next Z Talks episode? So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Go ahead and comment down all of your thoughts. I will be going through and reading them, replying to those that I can, liking them, but I will get to all of them, so don't you worry about that. And I will see you next time.